and welcome back to Twin Chats. I'm Elena,
I'm Liz.
and we are talking all things health, weight loss, goals, real mom life, and everything in between. So, for today's episode, we are going to be talking about traveling, going on vacation, taking trips, and staying on track when it comes to your health and weight loss goals. Right, Elizabeth? That's the
Yes.
best way to explain it? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I think that's the best way. We kind of wanted to talk about this because we actually just got back from, we took our two children. Well, I have a child. She has a child. So two children, just us and our kids. We went to see our younger sister in Oklahoma. So we kind of had like a mom's trip with our kids. And like we
Two
stayed in,
7-year-olds, two
yes,
7-year-olds,
two kind of crazy, kind of like just crazy
very
7 year
crazy.
olds. But we stayed in an Airbnb. So like Elena will kind of talk about how like she prepares for like when she goes on trips, but like it was a totally different it's trips are totally different depending who you take them with, of course. And we had went to visit our sister and we had an
Hmm.
Airbnb, so we kind of could do a little bit more than staying in a hotel. And then we have another trip coming up in May that's more of like a girls trip and more of kind of like a condo. So that will be completely different.
Kids free. So we are
Yes.
very excited for that. Ironically, it's Mother's Day weekend and we are going without our children. So some people will have opinions about that, but we obviously have our own.
Well, I
So
mean,
we are
it
excited
was,
about that trip.
yeah, it was planned. I mean, our kids are 7, so it's like we've spent a lot of Mother's Days with them, and I mean, it's a nice day, but like it's also a day that we're supposed to like be able to relax and like do what we want. So that's a lot easier when you're like away on vacation. So
Yes.
yeah, so we figured we'll do it this year, not like forever, but it'll be a nice getaway.
Or maybe every year. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
So basically, that's why we figured we would cover this topic today because, like Elizabeth said, we just came back from a trip and we're going on another trip. So yeah, that's kind of the topic that we figured that we would talk about. So where should we start with what we do beforehand? Is that good?
Yeah, so I know for myself, like I like before I go on a trip, and not necessarily like the trip with our kids, because like that wasn't like a trip where we're necessarily like getting ready and going out. Like it was a lot of just, kid activities. But for this coming trip, like I know before I'm kind of like, okay, I have to like, watch what I'm eating, do all the things up until we go, maybe work out a little bit more. And then like once we get to the airport, it's like everything's over. Like I can eat what I want, I can drink what I want, and it's like I have no plan. So I know you are completely different with that. That's definitely like a struggle for me, and I think probably a lot of us, it's kind of like we're on vacation, we can eat whatever we want, we can do whatever we want, kind of. But like what? How do you like what is? How do you prepare for that?
So I would have to say, like, I used to be exactly like that. Like, I would do exactly the same thing. Like, I would diet up until the time I was going, and then I would get into the airport, and it would be like all bets were off. I would be eating all the things, drinking all the things, feeling like garbage sometimes before I even got on the plane. Like, I sometimes I say like I feel like I checked my healthy habits, like I checked my suitcase, like luggage, because it was like they were gone. Um, and I feel like now I start thinking about like what I want it to look like what I want my trip to look like, what do I want to be doing, and how do I want to be feeling before I even go. And then I think the other thing that's really important is like thinking about why you care. Like why do you even care to do these things? Because it helps you be so much more consistent and like actually follow through with it. So like really having a plan before you go. Like how many times do you want to be working out? How many times do you want to be, eating out or eating similar to you do at home? I think for me, that's something I do before that's really helpful. As well as like I always pack like healthy snacks, which sometimes like Elizabeth makes fun of me or other people make fun of me, but it's like I do that because so many times I'm stuck in the airport and it's like, a meal time, but I'm not going to go to a restaurant. And then I have the things that I can almost like put together for a meal in my bag. So I always have like nuts. I bring like chopsticks, or I think the brand is Vermont. I know it sounds so funny, but they're like the cleanest version of like a protein like beef stick that you can buy. Or I really like the Epic Bison bar. So like that's the protein, and then I always bring nuts with me, and then sometimes I'll have like some other version of like a clean protein bar with me. So like packing snacks, deciding on your plan ahead of time, why you even care to do it. And then also like deciding ahead of time too, like when do you want to get back on track? like committing to that beforehand. So it's not like you get home and you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll just do this for another couple weeks until it's like I'm way off.
Yeah, I feel like that. Like, I don't go in with like any type of plan. And like, when I get home, it's like one of two things. Either I'm like so disgusted about how I've been eating and drinking that I'm like, I can't even look at like a carb. Like, all I want to do is eat healthy. Or I come home and I'm like, that's just how I've been eating. So I'm just gonna keep eating like that. So it's either one of the two things. But yes, you are like very good at like preparing. Like, she's always like at the airport with her, with her little snacks, and I'm laughing because I'm like, well, I'm just
I
gonna
am.
get
And I'm
whatever.
so happy. I'm so happy to have them too, because then it's like I'm not blowing like all this money on literal garbage food, because I think most of us can agree what you get at an airport the majority of the time, not always,
It's not good,
doesn't taste great,
and it's
and
so
it costs you
expensive.
like $50,
Yeah,
and then you don't feel great when you're
yeah.
done, and then you get on vacation and you're already bloated, and it's like, why did I do all this work for the weeks leading up to it? The other thing that I definitely want to point out is, you even have said it already, like I feel like it starts with like everything. I always go back to mindset, and it drives you crazy, but it's so true, because everything we do or don't do is driven by the way we're thinking about it. And it starts with that whole thought that we tell ourselves, well, we're on vacation, so it's fine. Like, we're on vacation, we're relaxing. And it's like, what does that even mean? So we're on vacation, so we can like binge eat and like throw everything out the window. Like, that's ridiculous. So it's like questioning that whole thought. Not saying you can enjoy yourself and have fun, because I do. I enjoy my food, I enjoy the drinks. It's just like in moderation and being intentional about it. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and I
kind of,
mean, my
you
plan
know,
for like this trip coming up is like to kind of, plan a little bit more and like maybe try to like if we go out to eat, I'm not just gonna get, pizza. Maybe I'll try to add some vegetables in. So that's my goal. That's my plan. So yeah.
yeah, for this trip coming up. Yeah, I mean, for me, what I love to do is, like I kind of said before, so we're going to be gone for 3 days. We're going to be there for 3 days ish. So it's like deciding what meals I want to look very similar to how I eat at home, and then deciding what meals I want to like indulge. So that's our dinners out. That's always going to be our dinners out, because I know those are going to be the better meals. Like, it's going to be higher quality food. We're going to be going to places. I want to have cocktails, I want to have wine, and I allow the room to do that. But then it's the lunch and breakfast probably are just going to be what we grab before we go to the pool or the beach or that kind of thing, because we're going to Florida, so to a beach, to a pool. So like deciding, like having some meals that that I maintain very similar to home, and then having a couple where I indulge and eat out or whatever it is really helpful for me, and it helps me just feel better when I'm there too. Like, I feel like that's like the root of it.
Yeah, and that's I think why, we try to do so much before we go because like just like when we're there, it's a difference of how we feel. Like I know if I literally do nothing before I go and I'm just like I go all of a sudden I'm somewhere where I have to put a bathing suit on, I'm like, I'm not feeling that great. But if I actually like do a little work before I go, I feel a little bit better. But like the second I start, eating whatever I want, that feeling is gone. So yeah, I guess that is, if you kind of stay on track, you might feel a little better. But you grocery shop when we go. I don't know if you will this time, but
Yeah, so it depends on where I'm going or what I'm doing. This trip we just took, which we were there for like 5 or 6 days, I absolutely grocery shop, and I don't go crazy. I just buy like the basics, the things that I can throw together like breakfast or lunch whenever I want to or need to. So I'm not stuck in the place where you wake up, you have no food, there's nothing around you, and you end up going through a drive-through and getting again like something that tastes like garbage, doesn't fuel you, and costs like $20. That helps me avoid that. I always use Instacart, so it's super easy. And I don't know if I'll do it for this trip just because it's a couple days. At a minimum, I might just get like some protein sources and like a couple like veggies and fruits, just so I can have something to throw together if I want to. So yeah, I do typically
yeah.
grocery shop, especially like I visit Elizabeth's house for Christmas every single year. We're there for like a week. I literally have my groceries like delivered. If I'm getting there late at night, it'll be first thing the next morning. So I have my
Yeah.
coffee, my creamer, like all the things I need, so I don't feel like I have to go out and grab stuff ASAP and get things that I don't even really want.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's
I
true.
think that's super helpful.
Yeah, the groceries are always waiting there, like wherever you're going. So, yes, that's part of the
Yes,
plan.
and I love it, so much.
Yeah, that works.
So so yeah. What about working out? Like, what do you feel is helpful, or what do you feel is like most challenging when we're traveling? or going
Um,
when you're on a vacation or
I
anything
know
like
for
that?
me, like it's very hard to like want to work out. I mean, for everyone, literally for probably for everyone. It's like very hard for me to work out when I'm on vacation. Like when we went on this past trip, like there was not anything. We were in an Airbnb. So like there was no gym, there was no weights, there was no treadmill. So like the motivation to work out was like literally zero because that meant I had to like find something to do. And like I have a Peloton at home, I have weights. So like I don't want to find something to do. So my motivation was zero and I didn't. I did a little bit. But this trip I'm assuming there is some type of like gym because we're staying more at like a condo resort. So
Yeah.
I just lost the headphone. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
My ears don't hold headphones. I have like weird shaped ears. But anyways, yeah. So like this
And we're twins, so I must have gotten like different shaped ears because I have no
they
issues with
literally just
AirPods or headphones, like
they
at
just
all.
they just fall out. Like when I'm on the plane and I use them, like I'll be sitting there on the plane and just like fall on the ground, which I mean they're my husband, so that's not a good thing because
Did you read the instructions? Maybe you don't have them in right.
they're not they're not mine. So no, I didn't. But anyways,
I'm
um
kidding. I'm kidding.
I think there is like a way you're supposed to like form them to your ears. So no, I have not done that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's not a thing. But
Totally
um
joking. Totally joking.
so as far as working out, like this place we're going to, like maybe like one day I will just because it's more of like a fun trip and like I don't want it to interrupt my fun. So like I guess that's my struggle.
I mean, I always say it comes down to your priorities. And if having fun or sleeping is a higher priority than working out or like doing
This
things that are going to leave you feeling better, they're always going to win out, which is totally okay. And knowing that, knowing you made that choice, you feel better even doing that versus like, oh, I just can't get myself to the gym. I think for me, like it's also knowing like we're not going to feel motivated. Like I literally, the last time we were just on this trip, did not want to do anything when I woke up every single day, especially because we had two like kind of whiny, kind of like having fun 7-year-olds who were driving us crazy. Like that was the absolute last thing I felt like doing was occupying them and trying to figure out what I was going to do. However, I still did it because it goes back to what I said before. When you have a plan ahead of time and you have that like reason why you want to follow through with it, it's so much easier. But I feel like that is the biggest challenge, like literally getting up and not feeling like doing it, especially when you're with like a bunch of girls and like we've had drinks the night before and you wake up and you're tired. You may even be like a little bit hungover, like a tiny bit. So I think for me, it's like thinking about what workouts will I still do even when I feel like that. And
yeah.
sometimes that's just like walking with a podcast or doing like resistance training. Definitely not like any kind of hit workout or anything. Um, but I think that's really helpful for me too, is like thinking about what kind of workouts am I actually not going to mind doing when we're on a trip like that.
Yeah, I feel like for me it's like just like cardio, treadmill or like something like that because anything else is just like too much effort and I'm on vacation. So like yeah, I mean clearly that's
There, it goes back to
clearly
that.
that's
It
my
goes back to that.
mindset.
I'm on vacation, so why should I have to work out?
But like
I
really
shouldn't
it's
or
just
don't want to work out.
it's just a couple days gonna like make or break like a weight loss journey.
No, definitely not. 100%, 100% no. I think it's more about maintaining that momentum and that consistency than anything. And 3 days is literally nothing. But when you're talking 3 days, I think it's more about just like moving your body because most of us feel better when we're just like literally moving throughout the day versus laying like a lump in a chair or sitting on a chair or laying in a bed. Like I think we can all agree that when you do that for 3 days, you kind of feel like a lump. But I think if you're going for longer, it's more helping you maintain that consistency and that momentum so we don't come back and you're like, well, I haven't been doing it for a week. Now I'm literally like feeling it over. I think those two things are way more important than like the calorie burn or anything for weight loss. I think it's more the consistency, momentum, as well as you just feel better, even if you
Yeah.
literally just walk.
Yeah, I
Like on
agree.
our last trip, the one day that I literally got up and I'm like, I'm not gonna do anything. I don't feel like doing anything, but I did tell myself I was gonna do 3 days, and I just said to you, I'm like, I'm gonna just go run around the neighborhood for 20 minutes, and I put my sneakers on, I put my gym clothes on, I left her with our two kids, and I'm like, bye. But I ran around for like 20 minutes, and I came back and did a couple things, and I just felt so much better, like mentally, everything. So I
Yeah,
think that's
I agree.
helpful.
I agree. Movement, as you say, definitely does feel better.
So, and I know your other question that you always ask is like, okay, balancing like drinks and, going out, but also goals. and all of that. So what do you do? Like what's helpful for you when it comes to that?
Well, I mean, I don't think I'm ever gonna have like, like a pro tip because like I'm still, in this struggle. But like I don't balance it. I'm just gonna have
I think you
what I
do.
want. I don't know that I do.
I will say I think we both like drink a lot less because I think we think more about the next day. And
Yeah.
not just being parents when we're home. I think we definitely are thinking about that. Like, okay, we still have to take care of a child. That's if when you're hungover, like that is like literal hell. But when we're not, I do think we still think through like, okay, tomorrow morning, like, do I want to be in the place where I can't get out of bed? I think we think about that now that maybe it's just being older. But I also think we do just care about our bodies more and like how we feel. Would you
Yeah.
agree or no?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's a being older thing, which I guess we'll see, on this trip. But yeah, in the past, like, there was no limit to like how many drinks we may have. Like it just, you
And
know,
we don't do that anymore.
you never know. But now, we're adults, and like sometimes going back to the hotel and sleeping sounds better than having, endless
Yes,
drinks just because
it
we don't get to
does.
do that anymore. So yeah, I guess, but I don't know that I would say like, I have like a good balance. But yeah, that has shifted since we've gotten older. But I know
Yeah.
you probably have
I
a
think
much
the
better
other
one.
No, I don't have any like specific tips. I think it just goes back to what I said before, like kind of thinking through what do I want this night to look like? Do I want to have 18 drinks or do I want to have like 3 or 4? I know for me it's usually 3 or 4 because something that I thought about a while ago was like two things. One is that you don't have to be drunk or to have drinks to like have fun. Like I don't feel like that's true anymore. And I think at one point in my life, I literally felt like I had to be drinking or have a drink in my hand. Or are you laughing at me right now? Yeah, but we can totally have fun even when we're not. Like I'm at your house all the time, or we're doing things and we're like laughing and having fun, not drinking. So I feel like knowing that you don't need that. That doesn't mean you can't have it because I love my wine, I love my drinks. But knowing that is helps so helpful. I think the other thing is I um, like I used to catch myself all the time just ordering drinks, like ordering another drink, vodka water. And I feel like when I get to the point where I'm ordering vodka water, I'm in trouble because I don't like the way it tastes. I have no reason for drinking it other than the fact that I think I need to get more drunk to have more fun. That we know we're in bad shape when I'm ordering vodka waters at the bar. So, because that's not typically what I drink. I have wine or I have cocktails, and then when I get to that point, it's like literally just drinking the drink. So at one point in my life, a couple of years ago, and this is when I got really so much better with like my eating, was actually like going to order this drink that I didn't want. I didn't want the taste of it. I didn't want to pay for it. Who wants to pay for like $7 for a drink they don't want? And I was like, why am I literally about to drink this? And starting to question that. And when I got the answer, which was like to get drunk, I'm like, wait, for what? To feel like to get sick when you already have a good buzz going? It just literally makes no sense. And I feel like when I started to think about that, like on our last 2 trips ago, we were in where did we go? We went to a
Mexico.
resort, Mexico,
Mexico, yeah.
Mexico, and we got to a point in the night where I just wasn't. I was drinking water because I'm like, I don't want another drink to feel awful. I already have a good buzz. Like I just don't need it. And I feel like that like things really started to change for me. And honestly, like I love it because you can still go out. You can have that exact thing, that balance. You can go out. You can have a couple of drinks. You can have fun, and then you're like, okay, I'm done, and either you
Yeah.
go back to the room or you just hang out.
Yeah, I think you do a good job of like having water. Like when we go out, like sometimes, well, actually, yeah, you're like constantly ordering water. Like you order a drink, you order
Like,
water.
see, what are we drinking now? I got my water. Elizabeth has her wine.
My wine's good, but I also have water over there. But yeah,
I
you
do love
like you
wine,
would
though. I
order
really
you would
do.
order like two drinks. Like you'd get a drink and then you'd also get a water,
Yeah,
which is like, and then you carry around two drinks constantly. You were like
I sure
water.
did.
Yeah, so yeah, that I mean that is a good tip. Like sometimes I'll do that. Like if I'll get like a drink, then I'll get a water, then I'll get a drink, then I'll get a water because like it you don't even honestly notice it. Like if you're out and you're like there's a lot going on and you're holding a water, like all of a sudden you realize it's gone and you don't even realize it's not a drink. So yeah,
Yeah, I
that's a
feel
good
like
tip.
it minimizes your headache and it helps you
Yeah,
feel so
for
much
sure.
less dehydrated when you're done that night and the next morning. And you probably it has to help your body process the alcohol better. I would think. I would
I would think.
think that that's the case. So yeah, I think that's all really helpful. But
And what about
Yeah,
like
so what else?
balancing like food when you go out to eat and we're like specifically like when you go out to eat and we're on vacation? Like how do you maintain your plan with that?
Okay, so the one thing I already mentioned before, and it's deciding which meals I want to eat very similar to how I do at home. And typically that's breakfast and lunch. Unless I'm going somewhere that is like the most amazing restaurant in the entire world, I will switch that up a little bit. Usually breakfast and lunch otherwise are going to be super similar to how I eat at home just because it's easy to do that. Dinners are usually where I will go in, and if it's a super high quality food, that's always what I base it on, super high quality food and stuff that sounds really good, then sometimes I will literally just go in and pick whatever looks amazing on the menu. I will not pay attention to anything else. I'm just going to pick what looks amazing on the menu. But I would say the biggest thing that has been so helpful for me and what I always recommend to clients, I don't know if we mentioned it in this video, but I'm a health coach, and also have a super long journey to like getting to a place where I'm feeling better about all of this, is not overeating, is literally not overeating and paying attention to what you're putting in your mouth. So you're not like the example I love to give, who has not been to a Mexican restaurant, you're eating chips and salsa, and all of a sudden you are eating for an hour and you don't even literally know what you put in your mouth.
But
Maybe
it's
you
so
remember that
good.
first chip. Baskets are gone. Like
So
baskets
good.
of chips are gone. If you're at the point where you have no clue what you ate and it's such a mindless activity that's not even enjoyable. I hate that. I don't ever want that. So it's like just paying attention. If I'm going to eat chips, I actually want to taste the chips. If I'm going to drink a margarita, I actually want to drink the margarita. So like paying attention and enjoying your food and drinks. And then second is just like watching yourself when you feel that you're on the like verge of overeating. When you're like eating, you feel good and you're like, oh my gosh, but it's so good, I want more. Cutting myself off at that point. And knowing you're gonna feel like eating more and more and more, of course, but not doing it and just allowing like that idea to be there, but then just deciding you're done. I think if you do nothing else, that has been like probably the most helpful for me. But then if you could add that other layer of keeping like one or two meals the same, even if you're out, that's like great, especially on a vacation like this.
Yeah, I feel like that's like something I really struggle with is like just I can't, sometimes I just like when you're sitting at a table and like you've had some drinks and you're just kind of sitting there, you're talking and like you still have food in front of you. Like it's for me, it's like so hard not to keep eating it. And the funny thing is,
Yeah,
usually like we're going out for drinks, we're going to be like going out after, so it's like you're in probably like something like a bodysuit or something that's like form fitting. So like you don't want to be feeling like that, but like I sometimes
no,
really struggle with like stopping. So then I end up feeling like that, which is
and
terrible.
yeah, literally none of us like to feel like a stuffed sausage, like a sausage stuffed like a casing. Like nobody wants to feel like that. And it's like when you think that through, how you're gonna feel literally with five more bites, because that's all it takes sometimes. It's like a couple more bites.
Ugh,
That can help you stop.
terrible.
The other thing is like knowing that it can feel a little bit hard because it's going to. It's a habit you're developing. If you're used to overeating and you just keep overeating, well, obviously that's going to be easy. But if you are building a new habit, you got to go through that process of building it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I mean, I absolutely did, and still sometimes I overeat. Well, where were we? Was it in our last trip? Yeah, we had cheesecake, and I never eat cheesecake, and I literally had like a small piece, and then the crust was really good. So like I went back and I had like a few more pieces of cheesecake crust, and afterwards I'm like, why did I do that? Like, and it didn't even feel stuffed after, but it was just like more than I actually intended to eat. That's how I define like overeating, more than you intend to eat. So it's like, there are lots of ways to go about it, but I think just paying attention is like a key thing, and knowing that like you'll get that idea to keep doing it, but you can just allow that to be there and not do it. I heard it once. I know I've said it to you, like the best weight loss exercise is plate pushes, like pushing your plate away and actually leaving it away from you, like just being done and being okay with
I feel
that.
like for me,
So,
I have to be like, the server has to like take it away. Like, I have to be like, take this, or like, I'll just pull the plate back.
so just don't pull the plate back.
It's a work in progress. But also, what was I going to say? Well, you mentioned that you're a health coach, but also you have like a very, very long and like impressive like weight loss journey. Like, how long has it's been? Like, what, like 10 years, 14 years that like you've lost a ton of like, right?
I honestly don't even know how long. I was at my heaviest weight when I was about 22, 22, and I'm 36. So 14 years ago, I was at my heaviest weight, which was almost 40 pounds heavier than I am now. And once it's, it was a progression to process. to lose it, and it was happened in phases. But probably about 10-ish years ago, 5-ish was at when I was at like I feel like my best point where I really truly felt my best. 5-ish. I don't know. I feel like I lose track of time now that we're like getting older. And since then I've been like solid, like golden. I'm keeping it off and like having these methods and practices and the consistency. That's been amazing. It has worked really well for me. So yes, I'd say the last 5 years is when it's really been like honed in, and I've been really a lot better at doing all of these things we're talking about today. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is like it's I mean, because we're twins, obviously, so it's like something that like I can't get to yet, but she's like kind of mastered. Like I mean, you've since whatever time you said, like you've kept it off. Like it's not like so whatever like you've
Yeah.
developed, like obviously has you've maintained. So like that's
Yeah. Yeah. Weights between like 2 and 5 pounds, as most people's weight do, especially depending on like, did I just come back from a trip? Do I have a lot of water weight? Have I just been doing some type of like cleanse? Because I just love doing those things all the time, as you know. So like that will vary it, but like for the most part, yes, my weight is very consistent. And yeah, I mean, developing the healthy habits is literally everything. Like it really is, and making these things a practice and something that you're really committed to. And you absolutely can do it. You just haven't fully decided that
No,
you
I
want
know,
to yet.
I know I can, and I do want to, but it's just like actually doing it. So that's why I'm just pointing that out because it's something that like nobody would know just from watching it. But this because like obviously you only can see our heads, but it is like it's been like a crazy journey. Even though I hate that word, but I guess that's the best way to describe it. That
Yeah.
is why you can speak on these things because you've actually done them and have
Mhm.
progress and maintain the progress, which I think that isn't always the case. But as I'm drinking this wine, I'm
Right.
also thinking back to our last point is drinking also, I feel like if you have a plan and like you have something like a plan, yeah, if you have a plan, when you start drinking, I feel like what's the word I'm looking for? Your like control, like your sense of control kind of like diminishes a little bit. Like even like
It's
as we're talking
literally
right now,
gone.
I'm thinking like you said
What am I
cheesesteak and
saying? What am I doing?
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. So like I feel like when we're, you're out to eat or whatever and like you've made this plan, but then you have like a couple drinks, that might just be out the window. So that's like another thing, to consider. But
That's 100% true. And I heard somebody say once, like your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that like actually makes logical decisions, it literally makes it go to sleep. Like when you're consuming alcohol, like it goes to sleep. So you're only functioning with your brain that literally does things like on a whim. Like it's all emotional reacting, which is why people get themselves into a lot of trouble
it's
when
interesting.
they're drinking. Like whether it's overeating or doing any kind of thing they don't want to be doing, is because your intelligent brain is gone, essentially. Like, I mean, I have totally, like, late night, like, had chicken finger subs and french fries and all the things. Not that I couldn't eat those things normally, but after a night of drinking, like, all bets literally are off, like, if you've been drinking a lot.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's another reason that I feel like I have decided, not even super intentionally, to just drink less because of all of those things. And, of course, all the that alcohol's not good for our body. Like, I think every single person knows that.
Yeah.
So, like, that too, kind of a mix. Like, just drinking less. It's not even that, I absolutely drink. It's just not quite as much, and not in the binging way like we used to.
Yeah, and that also makes sense why, like when you go out for like an extended period of time, not just for like an hour, when you're out for like 5 hours, you may have started with dinner, but when that 5 hours hits and you've been drinking for so long,
yeah.
like you might eat
you
McDonald's,
need another dinner.
you might be eating
yeah.
might eat taco if we're in Buffalo, New York, so Jim's Steakout, like that makes a lot of sense why like you think you need these things, but like it's when you think about it the next day, you're disgusted.
Disgusted.
Yeah.
Your intelligent decision making is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, I don't know if you remember this, we literally like ate borderline raw pasta in one of our apartments that we made for like a group of people that were there, and it was like we ate that. Like what? Why?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, I don't know if there's anything else that we want to touch on today. I know you were asking me about like like relaxing on things at all, but I feel like we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's really like, for me, it all comes down to like being intentional before you go into it, deciding when you want like kind of your plan for while you're there to end, and then just picking back up with it when you get home.
Yeah.
I know it's challenging, but I feel like the sooner you can do that, the better you're going to be. And deciding like what you want your middle ground to be. Like it doesn't have to be 0 to 100. What do you want your vacation like plan to be? And
Yeah.
literally that's it. I think that's super, super helpful for
Yeah.
me. So
I agree.
okay, well, if you guys are interested in our conversations, definitely make sure to subscribe and drop a comment below if there's any topic that would be interesting for us to cover in a future video. And definitely feel free to go check out Elizabeth's Clothing Boutique, which is Aiden Rose Boutique. And if you're interested in learning more about my health coaching, it is Elena Nicole Health. And we would love to connect with you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.